My name is Josh Blalock. I am a principal consulting engineer with CDW and also a Microsoft Office Apps and Services MVP. That recently changed. I'm still trying to get that to roll off the tongue properly. But my Twitter handle is up there as well, and where I normally blog, when I blog, and frequently. Most of my stuff's video these days, but there it is. We are going to be talking about building a community-led tech conference using Microsoft Teams. How many people have heard of Comms vNext prior to signing up for this session? Okay, well, you all are going to know a lot about it after this session. Good stuff. All right, a bit about me. Let's just elephant in the room, the hat. Okay, that is me. I am the guy. There's actually two. I've seen one other guy wandering around in a cowboy hat, and I almost walked up to him and told him it was trademarked. But that's me. So again, Twitter handle. There's the YouTube channel. I used to do a weekly webcast about everything new in Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams. That is now really occasional rather than weekly. Things have gotten busier for me, but it's still out there. Also, I'm really huge into the community, Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business specific, but as is evidenced by this conference. The community is a big part of what I do. I like being out there on Twitter and LinkedIn and interacting with all of you and sharing news about the product and learning news about the products. So that's a big part of who I am and what I do. And last but not least, I am a co-organizer of Comms vNext, along with these fine gentlemen here. So let's talk a bit about them. Gentleman is really a loosely used term in this case, but we'll go with that. But Adam Ball, also MVP. Jonathan McKitty, another MVP, and Pat Richard. Also, there's a hashtag that goes with that, not Pat Richard. You can start looking into that on Twitter yourself and figure that out. But normally he has a shirt, something along those lines, but today we're all doing a little advertising up here. So there we go. And this is actually a picture of us at the first ever Comms vNext that happened in June, this last a couple months ago. We were in front of the giant, awesome Surface Hub that was put up in the main MTC area there. Was anybody there at Comms vNext? What? Oh, yes, a hand. Someone was there. Awesome, and we hope we'll see you this next year as well. Planning is underway. We're going to talk about how we built this, but planning is underway for 2019. So what was our challenge in building the conference? Well, for me personally, the goal was to build a new conference that would be focused on Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business. I had always heard about how great LinkConf was. After Ignite last year, guys like these would pow about how awesome it was back at Link Conference, and I was never at one of those. It sounded cool. All the content was what you wanted it to be. You didn't have to filter. You recognized most people in the room. It was easy to strike up that conversation. And I thought, why can't we do that? Why can't we have that again? Ignite's great. Let's go. But what about building something else that's geared in a little more to what we want it to be? And so that was what drove me to wanting to do this. Can each of you guys touch on maybe what propelled you along those lines or something different?
Yeah, no, it was about the same. And I think it was our conversation initially that started this, and then we talked to other people. But it was Link Conference and that experience where you could walk up to anybody and be able to have that conversation with them because they spoke the same language as you did. So if you're a SharePoint person or Exchange or whatever you are, you seek out those other people that understand what you say. And I really miss that about Ignite here. I mean, this is great having all this content, but being able to just walk up to anybody and just say, hey, what's your name, what do you do, and have them actually be relatable to you. That's what I really missed about that.
In the UC realm, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely all about the community aspect. I mean, there were, at the event in San Diego, just real quickly, how many people actually got to attend a Link conference, whether it was 2013 or 2014? Yeah, there's quite a few here that actually had that chance and that opportunity. It was phenomenal just to be able to go and meet so many people, especially then with Link 2013, there were people that you're like, I only knew through blogs, right? I mean, even Twitter hadn't really taken off at that point. And so when you look at it, it was all about those blogs and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so, or, oh, I know that guy. And so for that was my big thing.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Every conference has its experiences. Coronado was no different. Vegas was no different. I mean, the fact that you stayed at a hotel where the Navy SEALs were running by on their training every day, I mean, hey, that was cool. I mean, but you have experiences similar to that in conferences like this, but the fact that you went into an expo hall where every vendor there was dedicated to your area of interest, you can't say that here, right? And it's not taken away from anything at Ignite, but it was just everything was so focused on a product and everybody was excited to be there and know that it was all about their area of focus.
So I wanted that. I wanted to have my chance at that since I never made it to LinkConf. So this conversation started, and after a week or two of loosely talking about what this could look like, the four of us were there ready to start planning. So going into this, what was our experience in building a conference, right? You just don't set out building a conference without some sort of experience doing that. That's quite an undertaking. And so we had about that much experience doing this, really done. We'd done like user groups, meetups, things like that, right? But this was on a different level for us. And so
We've been to a lot of user groups.
yes,
A lot of conferences,
right. So we had that. But the logistics behind that is not something you really pick up attending. And so, yeah, it was, that's where we were starting from. We were really just throwing ideas out there from the very beginning. This slide, I promise, will be the most wordy slide in the whole deck. I will stay away from a lot of words after this, but I wanted to put a good foundation for the things that we needed to have in place as we picked a platform for organizing and putting this thing together. We had needs in both the communication and collaboration side of things. For communication, we were going to be getting together and doing lots of meetings and chats and talking about things on the fly. We had semi-weekly-ish, meetings where we got together. We all got on camera, and so we had that need. We needed the ability to do.
Sometimes those meetings, they weren't in the office.
Yeah.
There's one time where I was actually in a car in a meeting with the video going because I had the mobile client. It was, I mean, Teams is that kind of a...
Exactly, and we had very diverse needs in that front. So it... No, he wasn't, no, yes.
I wasn't driving.
Good call. Presentation and screen sharing capabilities. We oftentimes would be talking about like venue ideas or things like that. We needed to be able to share a screen and show each other what we were talking about. So that was an important need as well. And then we needed to be able to talk to each other on longer running items via chats. You know, the threaded idea of chats was a big deal to us. We'll talk a little bit about kind of exactly how that panned out for us in a minute here, but those were the communication needs. From a collaboration standpoint, there were all kinds of things we needed to do to coordinate on budgets, planning out the different sessions and speakers that would be taking place, how we were going to approach that, how we were going to start branding. You know, we didn't have a logo, we didn't have a website, no social presence. We needed a way to collaborate on what that was going to look like via media and all that good stuff. And then we wanted to be able to capture tasks from these meetings so that we had actionable things to follow up on and actually walk away from our meetings knowing that we were going to get things done moving forward. And so it was a pretty diverse set of needs, but this was the base of what we needed to look for in a solution to build this out together. And it just so happens that each of us happened to work with a product similar to that, almost spot on to that. And we were already working with it every day. Microsoft Teams was a no-brainer for us. And so we were already in Teams as it was, chatting on various things every day. It was a natural fit. And so let's talk a little bit about how we structured it. Structure is an important thing when it comes to Microsoft Teams, and it varies widely across organizations. Different types of companies will have a different way of structuring teams and channels and guests and all of that. It all depends on what your use case is and how you're going to approach Teams. For us, it was a very unique and simplified, but we had a very unique need for building out the structure to our team. We began in my tenant that I already had going, and I invited the three of them in as guests, and so we began to operate on the guest level. Pat's getting ready with the mic.
I was just going to say, if we start to think about when we started planning this, and this was, I would say formally planning started late last year when we were all in Seattle, think about how Teams was back then as a product and how it's evolved, how it evolved just between that time and the time of our conference in June.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in there now that weren't in there back then.
I mean, I'm sure all of you, if you are aware of Teams at all, know that we are constantly seeing new features and new things being added. And we were experiencing this in real time through this journey. Our structure started, though, with just the one team and the one channel. But we had, like I said, a diverse set of needs. We had a lot of tabs in that channel. I mean, it was crowded. There's a little drop down at the end that says 3 more tabs. And we were staying in one channel, but there was a lot of tabs going on. We'll look at what that looked like here in a second. So let's talk about the different tools and pieces of technology that we used within those tabs and within Teams. First off, we had meetings. On the meeting side of things, we had audio and video going on. So we had this. We never really did a lot of just audio only meetings. We tried to use video quite a bit. I felt that it really helped bridge the gap. These two actually live fairly close to each other, but Pat's up in Michigan, I'm down in Florida, and we're just across the country. So building this, it was great to see each other's faces and be able to communicate. Another part of our meetings was we needed a way to take notes. This started out with OneNote. We'll look a little bit more at OneNote in a second and what we did there, but it started with OneNote, and recently we've kind of shifted the note-taking to what's now meeting notes built into meetings. Very handy tool. I think I advanced too far. Yep, desktop sharing. So the desktop sharing part was, like I mentioned earlier, critical when we were looking at venue ideas and
T-shirt designs.
T-shirt designs. We'll go there in a second. But there was a lot of desktop sharing that happened. It was an important part of our meetings. This picture, funny story, actually. We went and did a little bit of recording one day. Wanted to do a promo for the conference and put it out there. And I had screwed up some of the production stuff on my side. This big, long, what was it, like an hour of us sitting there recording this thing and talking and all that. Never got to use it. I was definitely going to get some use out of that time, so I took this screenshot out of there, and we're using it now. It wasn't for nothing, guys. But, yeah, full hour for that, okay? Threaded chats.
He was pretty irritated about it.
Yeah, we'll leave pretty irritated to be the biggest description on that part. So threaded chats was an important part. I mean, oh my gosh, I tried the other day to go back through and look through some of our conversations. So many threaded conversations, but the threading was important. We were talking so much and had so many ideas just flying everywhere about what we were doing that the ability to organize them in a threaded manner and tag, if you needed to, a specific conversation and come back to that later.
Especially the logo conversation.
Especially the logo conversation. That was hugely important to us.
Josh, real quick, something that you didn't comment on here, and I think we probably all can do better on it, is the threaded chats. Really, whether it's in our conversations here within Comms vNext or for even the participants, it is huge just because of the fact that you don't want to get conversations mixed.
Yes.
Kind of the don't cross the streams kind of, Ghostbusters methodology. But the other thing that you don't see here that I know that we're all getting better about is actually putting subjects on those chats too.
Yes.
And actually dropping down and adding a subject so that you can follow it. And it's not something that's necessarily as intuitive, but once you start doing it, it really makes it easy to go back and find some of that stuff.
The rich text editing is a huge part of.
Exactly. I mean, that was just something that, like I said, the more you do that, even if in your own conversations within teams, it really helps organize that a lot better.
Yeah. Using the rich text editor, if you're not familiar with that, you can put a subject, for the conversation to get it going. You can put images into it. You can then go by paragraph instead of just one. It lets you express yourself a lot better. And we needed to do that quite a bit. At mentions was another important piece for us. Even though it was the 4 of us, we didn't have a huge audience, it got our attention. It had notifications that drew us back into the conversation.
Absolutely. And because the 3 of us are guests, it's not necessarily our natural tenet, right? So we're not necessarily in that every day from the standpoint of being front and center. So those at mentions would automatically trigger something. So.
And I would say one of the great things about working with these guys is we all kind of picked our area of interest that we wanted to focus on for organizing the conference, right? So we were able to have kind of our own topics within some threads that we were able to worry about and kind of live and breathe in, and then get called into other conversations as we needed to, right?
Right. We didn't all have to be in everything all the time, and that was very helpful. As an example here, ongoing tasks like the logo design. So we kind of have smirked and chuckled about the logo design, and I think I have even a little bit more in here about this. 100-something replies in the period of, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Ridiculously long conversation going back and forth. You would think we were trying to solve something for NASA with how much we were going back and forth on this to finish this logo right here. And so that was, I wish I could just extend the whole thing for you to see how crazy that was.
Can't scroll far.
No, I know. And looking back, there was actually a few other conversations that were longer. I mean, over the course of time, they were ongoing conversations. They weren't like sitting down in a meeting. We were working on something together for a period of time, and we needed to have these conversations that just kept going. And
Yeah, the persistence of those conversations, it was easy to go back at something that we had discussed months ago,
right.
and kind of pick up that conversation and continue it on.
And parallel conversations was another important component. We weren't just working on one thing at a time. We had pokers in the fire all over the place. So we're talking about budgeting at the same time. We're talking about speakers, and we're talking all that stuff is happening in conversations that are threaded, but their own unique conversations. And so parallel conversations was a big deal. I already mentioned the @mentions there. Again, people post things so often. I'm not talking about just our conference now. I'm talking about in teams. People post stuff so often, and they wonder why they don't get feedback or someone didn't see it, or it just @mention people. It drags them in via notifications. It is a very important component of engaging the people you work with in a team when it comes to Microsoft Teams. OneNote. OneNote was where we started, really, when you first create the team, you add a OneNote in. That's just a default thing I do. So
And get rid of the wiki page.
you get yeah, well, we didn't use it, but lately I've been getting rid of a lot of wiki pages. But OneNote we used for kind of throwing our initial ideas out there. Let's talk about what potential venues could look like. It was real freestyle planning. And if you know OneNote at all, you know that you can put blocks of text at random places around the page and create new pages on the fly and just move things around as you need to help it make sense. You can co-author and add things in at the same time so that you're all taking the same notes. It was a very good tool for that, and we did use it quite a bit in the beginning. I think we did shift, though. Once we started to get ideas solidified, OneNote was used less, and we were more into our conversations and the individual tabs. But it was an important part of getting started and actually taking this pile of mud and starting to make some shape to it. Exactly, yeah, brain dump. Excel tabs. So we used Excel tabs for a number of things. The first was budget planning. Naturally, we have a whole series of columns and rows that we can use to track what our expenses are, what our projected budget is, what we think we're getting from sponsors, and then as those things change, we change them on the fly. Adam was our official budget guy there, but we all contributed, right? As things came in, as we had expenses that racked up, we went into this tab, we entered our changes, and at the end of the day, we made this guy make sense of it all. So
I was going to say, and the one thing that for any of the financial planners and folks like that, there's always tools out there that do this in a much better way. But for this with Excel, the nice thing is that we could work off our mobiles, right? So
Yes.
we had that right there. Everything was there. We didn't need to overcomplicate it. I think that's one of those things that too many times you get into a project like this, and you start overthinking where the tools need to be.
Yeah.
And for us, we just need a simple Excel. It's super powerful.
Yeah.
And I'd say that about the OneNote as well. When I was out looking at venues and asking them all sorts of questions, I'd be putting that back into the OneNote right on my mobile.
Yeah. We did a surprising amount of work on mobile, actually. There was at one point part of this crazy logo conversation where I was going with my family to go. We were en route to Miami for something, and we were driving through Alligator Alley, right through the Everglades. And I was driving. So I gave the phone to my wife. And she was reading these notifications they were pouring in. I mean, picture after picture, reiteration of the design, revision. Yeah, not that blue, the other blue. It was, and yeah, I feel that one, but not so much this part. It was, oh my gosh, it was a crazy point. But I was dictating all of my responses to my wife, so she was actually a key component of that really long conversation, and she was just shaking her head through the whole thing. But she's like, you nerds. But anyway, we moved past that. Speaker tracking. This was a very fluctuating, there was a lot of things that took place with speaker tracking. Pat really headed this up a lot, and I do not have all the tabs that we had in here. I hit a couple for our own internal purposes and shortened it down, but we tracked a lot of things with speakers. We needed to know what their session was going to be. We needed to know, Pat, actually, yeah, take that and tell a little bit more what that was.
No, there are a lot of things. It's a little bit of a brain work to schedule sessions for a conference. I mean, what goes into something like Ignite, I can't imagine. But just looking at the small number of sessions that we had and relating that to the amount of work involved it was a lot more than I anticipated. But the ability to track who was willing to talk once we sent out a call for content, who was willing to talk about what. We had to make sure we didn't have duplicates, overlapping sessions. We wanted to make sure that there was no vendor bias. We wanted to make sure that we had sessions that didn't monopolize all of the attendees and deprive another session of attendees. We did have that happen once, but because everybody always attends Doug Lottie's session, I'm sure people here can attest to that.
The guy knows voice. I mean, he really knows voice. So,
so poor Brian Ricks and his Ask Me Anything session had like 3 people in it, but.
Once Doug's session was over, they all poured in, though. Then we had a good conversation.
Today, right?
So, yeah.
Just like later today, we'll see a lot of people at his session.
Yeah, so just the ability to kind of track all that within an Excel spreadsheet, with the ability to do it on mobile was real handy.
Yeah, it was that spreadsheet was moving and changing a lot, so it was important for us to stay plugged in to what was going on there. And then sponsor tracking was a really big piece of, obviously, conference doesn't happen if someone's not paying for it, right? So we had a lot of conversations with different sponsors, and some of them have different processes of their own about how it's going to be processed internally, and that affects how things hit our budget and when they hit our budget. And so tracking not only who our sponsors are, but have they paid? Are they being invoiced? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of work. And not only that, but even as we just went through it, it was more around keeping track of who was going to be a sponsor, right? As we went through those initial rounds, we had a lot of people who wanted to be a sponsor, and we had limited space. That's one of the big things. Like, you think about this expo hall here, it's massive, right? We had room for 6. That was it. Like, we didn't have a lot of room. We were hosting it in a small space, so we had to figure out who. So we had this long list, and then we kind of sorted it. And as one of us talked to somebody and said, "Yep, they're committed," we were able to then just update that again on the fly. It was really important for us so that if one of them was talking, they could literally get real-time information. And going back to your first slide of real-time, there was a lot of things we had to do where people needed to know up to the minute. And we're even seeing that here in 2019 with 2019 planning, even with our hotel potentially. So
we're working on things in the background, but co-authoring was just an important piece of it as well. Having all these tabs sitting right up top where we could easily jump to them, and in the middle of a meeting or whatever, update a small piece of the spreadsheet while somebody else is also working on it. It was crucial to us. So next up was Planner. Now, Planner had an interesting role for us. I love Planner. I think it's a great tool. We talked a little earlier about how Microsoft Teams has changed on the fly over time, right? And Planner was one of those areas for us. So we'd walk away from a meeting, and we'd have a bunch of action items that we each needed to take on and chase down. And we needed to have some way, aside from just individual accountability, but some way of tracking things and making sure that there was a master list somewhere and we weren't losing track of time and all that. And so I use Planner for that. Now, I say I use Planner for that because when we first started as a guest, there was not guest access for Planner and Teams. So I could keep this master list, but they couldn't see any of it. And so I had to tell them what's still going on, what's still a thing, or whatever. And they usually knew anyway, but it kept us honest, right? Now that has changed. There is now guest access for Planner and Microsoft Teams. I had Pat validate that recently, actually. So.
But not only that, but we've identified some issues with going forward. We were talking about that just earlier today, in that Planner only allows you to plan at a day period, so a full day. You can't do anything more granular than a day. So we can't use it for something like planning the speaker sessions throughout the day because we can't get that granular.
Right.
But it still fulfills a lot of needs for what we need it for.
Right. We have ideas where we'd like to take it, and maybe the features will be there at some point, right? But yeah.
Yeah, it's like the project plan, right? So I mean, for us, it's Josh, when you were saying it, I was like, yeah, Josh could crack the whip when one of us wasn't getting it done because of the fact that he had that master list. But now that we can all see that master list and we can put timelines associated with it, Pat can be reminded, I need to have this piece out by then, or I need to have the sponsorship packet out by such and such date. That was really big.
Yeah. It wasn't as big of a thing, right? Because we couldn't all access it the first time around, but it was important, and I think it's going to be a lot more important moving forward for us. Forms. There are forms. There we go. We used forms pretty casually. We had it as a tab. You can add forms as a tab if you didn't know that, but we used forms to put surveys out to the attendees on, are you going to be attending the party the night before? It was a series of things that we used to collect information that we needed for attendees, and we needed to know, as we made progress, what kind of results we were getting back. And it was hard for me, being the one that submits the form, to go and find a way to export an Excel spreadsheet and give it to these guys every time there are changes. I mean, it's updating constantly, right? People are going out and answering it when they want to answer it. So how was a way that we could all see the current results of what was submitted in surveys? We simply added tabs into many tabs into our channel, and that was where these guys could come and see the form that I had built, but all the results right there for them to look at. It was, as we're seeing here, you kind of had an overview that you could see those. So we got high-level results, pie charts, and
Yeah, and I'd say going forward, as we look at 2019, we're going to build on our use of forms in things like call for content and having speakers submit their syllabus for their sessions, and then using some back-end flow logic to weed through some of that and do an approval process, and then go back and notify the speakers that their session was either approved or declined, as well as giving some information about when their session will appear throughout the conference.
I actually need to go add that task for you in Planner right now. Hold on. Forms, and then files. Files was, this is OneDrive and Teams, right? We shared a ton of different types of files. We had logo and branding stuff, all those different iterations of the logo and media used for websites. That was all put out in OneDrive and in the files area there. The PowerPoint submissions we were getting from speakers, we needed a place to track those, as well as the templates for what that was going to look like. And then detailed survey results. We just looked at the high-level survey results that we had access to in those tabs, but they didn't allow us to have the very detailed export in there as well. So if we wanted to really drill into those results, we'd have to actually export those and then put those results into files where we could all access them. And finally, what were the results of all this? I would say it was a pretty successful and very fun first Comms vNext. We had a great time. We had our welcome party the night before. It was a good showing, had a good time there. And that's the picture over on the right. And then we have pictures of our keynote there. Jamie Stark was our keynote, and that was awesome, and a lot of good speakers afterwards. But yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask really quickly. For folks in the room, one of the things when we talk about results, it's hard too because we had some lofty expectations up front.
Yeah.
I know that, especially from a few folks. But if you're in the crowd and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about wanting to do something like this, set your expectations and then measure it, right? We measured everything that we could and that we could think of, and we still didn't measure enough probably from our standpoint to really have enough data points. I know I'm still collecting a lot of data for future sponsorships, right? What do the sponsors need to make sure that it's valuable for them? The results that we talked about here, one of the things that we said, thankfully Microsoft was really, really gracious and allowed us to use the MTC there in Denver. And
a shout out to Lori Popmeyer, who helped facilitate that whole thing.
Huge shout out for Lori.
She's incredible.
But they can only hold 100 people, We only had room for 100 people total. So it wasn't like we could go and have 300 people show up. So we only had a limited number of tickets. And when you think about what you're doing, you have to think about your attrition rate and things like that. So when we look at these results, and we had around 90 people sitting in the room out of 100, right? So 90% essentially of a goal attainment of 100 people. For most conferences, especially when you start talking about free on a Saturday in the summer, with 2 months notice, it's really, we'll take that every day of the week, and I think that's really important. But just know what your goals are there, and how you measure those results, because otherwise you may feel like you succeeded or failed without knowing.
Valid point. And we will give more than 2 months notice this next time for those of you interested in coming, promise. So.
And I would say, the whole idea behind this, as everybody's mentioned, was a community-driven conference. And if you're planning to have a conference, reach out to the community. There's a lot of people that will really bend over backwards to help you out. We got a lot of support from Microsoft, Lori Podmeyer, every person at Microsoft that I asked about speaking, except for one person, replied and accepted the challenge of speaking. And Microsoft sent all of those people to us on their dime. It was great. But we were able to reach out to some of these people that organize conferences, like the Link conference and stuff, and just ask them some questions. There's a community-driven conference in the UK called Evolve, and we regularly communicate with those guys on that team to get ideas and suggestions and stuff. And there's a growing interest in doing something in Australia, and the same thing is, just reach out to people that are already in that community, and they're usually more than happy to help out.
There's also a conference being planned in Latin America too.
Yes, Get CS Latam is in the process of being put out there, and there's a lot out on Twitter and social media about that. Great points about the results, measuring them, and what's going on. And I'd say through all of it, as far as the Microsoft Teams component goes, it worked well. It worked very well, met most of our needs, and now it's meeting more than it was when we started. And I think we are going to continue to plug right on into 2019 using Microsoft Teams for almost all of what we're doing regarding planning the conference. It was just very versatile, very extensible. A lot going on there. And with Pat, knowing all his PowerShell dev guru stuff, he's going to build some cool things this next time, right? But yeah, PowerShell gang sign. There you go. But that is all we had. Now it is time for you to ask questions if you have any for us. This is also the heckling session. But
you guys can come up to the microphones, please, so that we can hear you, and that they can also record it for so you can see how well you can put us on the spot.
Welcome.
Thanks a lot, guys. Seems like a tremendous organization. Really enjoyed hearing about it. One question specifically about Teams. I saw the logo thread got to about 113.
Yeah.
At what point do you guys decide, this should just be its own channel, and that way, smaller thoughts can have threads underneath it? It's tough, right? Otherwise, you get channel proliferation. Otherwise, you got too many things going on one thread. How did you guys find that balance? What did you guys do?
It's a great question. It goes to kind of what I said earlier about how each organization is going to build the structure of what they do in a different way based on their needs, right? And even with the conversations getting long, for us, the unique component was there's only 4 of us, right? There wasn't a need for added complexity. Things weren't getting lost in a thread that deep because there was only the 4 and we were a pretty tight group. To your point, though, absolutely, larger organizations with bigger teams and bigger channels, as you start to get to the point where a thread just rambles on, it becomes apparent that this probably needs to be collaborated on in a little different way. We might need to get some focused attention. And that's going to be a threshold that each organization sets individually.
And you also have to consider that when you do a separate channel, now you have another place for notification.
Yeah.
And as you add more of those, you essentially have more inboxes now, right? So you have all these notifications, and if you go, sometimes in our MVP stuff that we have right now, it's insane. We have 100 different things notifying us that we need to have attention to, and it could be overwhelming to people.
I would say that from our standpoint, right, because we are small, if you think about something like Ignite, it would be easy to have separate channels for sponsors or separate
Oh,
one
yes,
for
absolutely.
location, right?
Yeah.
Where you can get a lot more focus because not only do you have a threaded conversation around the topic, you have multiple threaded topics around that one topic. So as you kind of come around that idea of structure, the idea is more around does that overriding topic need to have sub discussions? And so if you're going to have lots of sub discussions around that topic, i.e. Location, right? We need a lot of subtopics around location. Yeah, that makes sense. And the other thing to think about with structure of channel is, do I have separate documents that I want to keep separated file-wise? Because realistically, the folder structure that you can create, that's awesome, but we live in a world of metadata and things of that nature where realistically folder structures are becoming less and less important in that aspect. So as you kind of come through that, having that organization from a channel perspective would be important.
Yeah, I love having using the litmus test of, are there, multiple different areas, multiple files or multiple questions that would arise, then yeah, that's a great litmus test for when you should move to something else.
And let's go back to one of the slides at the very beginning. What was our experience with conference planning? It was nothing. So we didn't have any logical idea of how to build these things out. It was kind of on the fly. I will say that we did create another channel for next year's conference to kind of keep that separate from,
2 channels now,
Yeah.
2 whole channels. So
to keep it separate from this year's stuff so that we can go back and look at that stuff historical, but it doesn't muddy up all the work that we're doing towards next year's conference.
Thanks again, guys.
great question, thank you. Awesome.
Since most of you guys were from your guests to that tenant, sometimes it's not very seamless switching between tenants and monitoring all the different tenants and channels. And so how did you guys manage that? Sometimes it's quite slow switching around and trying to manage all
All
that.
you guys.
So I'll say that at this point in time, I have either explicit or guest access in 6 tenants. And it's not easy, right? So, but the advantage is that the web client for Teams works really well. So a lot of times I'll have the Teams client open and a web client open logged into another tenant. And it allows, the 2 high traffic tenants that I'm in the most. And that's really helped.
One thing I'll add to that, really not relevant well, sort of relevant, but Pat at one point told me he was spending more time in my tenant than he was in his own tenant as a guest. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I have 3 computers at my desk, so each one of those is running different team stuff going on because the tenant switching really is annoying. On the mobile client, though, the switching is much faster. So
It is. Yeah.
So actually, sometimes working the mobile was easier.
I think my only point on that would be the fact that I was joined to Josh's tenant from my personal tenant, and then I have my work tenant. That's actually what causes me more grief than the actual tenant switching itself. And there's reasons for that, just because of the fact that keeping personal versus work-related stuff separate was important to me. So I think from my standpoint, that was my hang-up. But I go back to, once I'm in the web browser or on the mobile, it's way faster and it's a much better experience.
And hopefully that same experience will over time come to the desktop version as well. But work in progress, right? So.
Did you guys ever felt that Microsoft Teams came up short? I mean, you had to go for another service to solve your problems.
I never felt like we had to go to anywhere else. Like the planner was a good example of one area where I was like, well, this is annoying. I want these guys to see what these are, because you can assign a task in planner to a person that should get their attention, and they should then be working on that. That wasn't the case at that time. So there was an insufficiency there at that time. And then over time, it's been added in. Pat looks like he has a burning thing to add to that.
I would say, we're kind of oddballs, right? So we're all MVPs. We're all, I think, in the elite program or the TAP program or something that gives us, early access to some things. And we kind of have to be in there dog fooding all these Microsoft solutions. So finding all these pain points, reporting them back to Microsoft. And then seeing what they do about it, right? So the very nature of Teams is, it updates often. So we were able to kind of go through and see, did this fix the planner problem? Or, hey, what new application is now available in Teams, and can we utilize it to our advantage? So pain points aside, I think we were completely motivated to use a Microsoft solution to plan a conference around Microsoft technologies. I think that was very important to us.
And there's a component to that you know you will add in there, and that's that I'll say, you know, when it comes to building certain pieces out, like the website and stuff like that, we needed to use a tool beyond Teams. We didn't have direct integration with WordPress, and then what was this tool we used for Eventbrite. Brain. Okay, but those pieces were something we actually did separate, but we used Teams to talk about what we were doing there and coordinate on it. It was meeting our needs, you know, for the most. We had to step out for some of the more session-y things and stuff having to do with the conference and the actual sending stuff out to attendees, but right, Teams wasn't exactly in the mix there.
And there were times where, you know, we all do Skype for Business too, so we have each other on our contact list and federation. So sometimes we'd use Skype for Business for, hey, let's have an IM conversation and have a one-on-one voice conversation, right? A lot of times one-on-one, that was outside of Teams. Teams we primarily used for meetings.
Yeah.
But the Skype for Business piece was more for convenience because of the fact that we use it for our day jobs, right? All 3 out of the 4 of us are consultants that work with customers on a daily basis. So as Teams is progressing, you're seeing us more and more use that, right? I know Pat and I would chat actually in Josh's tenant. We're guests, remember? And we would have IM conversations in Josh's tenant because we were both in there. And I guarantee you, as we move forward and as we go, I know that all 3 of us are starting to move towards a Teams-only mode. You'll see us being more solidly there versus than even some of those takeoffs.
I will say there was a time or two when I got approached in Skype for Business. I was like, what are you doing? Let's go to Teams, you know? Yeah. Great question, though. Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, guys. So I'm really invested in Teams it's really a culture change. Get them off Skype, get them off Slack, and all that nice stuff. But I guess the biggest challenge that I see is 2 things. Number one is determine what you want in the channels. It's great to have one general channel for 4 guys. You have a team of 40, 50 people. I wouldn't go more than that.
Yeah, right.
But, you know.
You can, but maybe you shouldn't.
What I find is like blocking the general channel, just the admins, and always have 2 owners. Because if one guy's on vacation, then nobody can do anything else. But the other one is like where it's like the planner has got way better. I think that's really good. And the to-do integration that planner speaks to helps. But like they keep adding things like the wiki, personal wiki and stuff like that. So I think the challenge that we have to be aware of is that, man, they're adding so many things and what's going to stick and what's going to be long-term sticky. You know, that's key for me. So like from MVP, like we follow you guys on Twitter and stuff like that. It's like, you know, like hopefully the product teams will understand that. For example, like OneNote is so much better than the wiki that's built into Teams.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great from the command line to send something to OneNote, but then they create like a personal wiki stuff. So just little things like that, you know, like because you guys are closer to the product teams than we are, you know, to give feedback like that. Because you know, like OneNote, I think you know, if you're using Jira, you're using Confluence, but we don't have that same type of wiki capability in SharePoint or Teams. But OneNote is that one master thing, right? So
yeah,
you know.
I would just make a comment on that. There is user voice. Please go and put stuff in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times, and this is really being transparent and honest, when end users, customers report that in and upvote that, you get more influence than even we do at times. I know, no, it's very true. Please go and upvote that kind of stuff at user voice. They do listen.
As an example of that, we specifically get asked when we bring a complaint or a request to the product people on the product group and say, listen, customers are not happy about this, and that. You really should. You know what? One of the first things they tell us is, it's like, you tell me who the customers are. We'd like to hear the actual specific use cases, and that's what matters to us. Yes, show us on user voice where that's at, and we'll dig deeper.
We find the problems or the areas where there could be improvement, but the user voice helps drive the change for those areas.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say something scary about Teams. I told this to one of the engineers is that, so basically Teams is becoming what Domino wanted to be. You know, from one client that does everything. So, and that's a bit of the scary thing where Teams now, the only thing that's missing in Teams now is group like calendars and an inbox. Once that's in, you're basically talking Domino from the 1990s. And the only fear I have from that is that if the client becomes so piggish, you know, so it's just one of those things that,
Yeah.
right now it's really good. They're doing good jobs.
Yeah.
But it's becoming like they want everything to be in that one place to, you know, rule the world, right? So,
Yeah, I think it's more about focus in there, and I use the meetings tab in my own teams for my calendar on an everyday basis. I don't even look at Outlook for my calendar anymore on a daily basis. I might look at Outlook for a month or week view, but I look at Teams for my day view. That's right.
Yeah, that's why, exactly. Great questions. Awesome. Is there any other thoughts, questions, anything at all you want to say? James, you're usually a pretty loud person. Anything you want to say? You good? Okay, all right. Okay. You all have been extremely, oh, we do have one. Great. Yes.
Yes, so I have a question. You presented one use case of Microsoft Teams, but when we are talking about rollout in a larger organizations, do you suggest that we should have a predefined set of channels, so that to help people start?
Predefined? No. I mean, you want to listen to your users and talk to the users and get your business cases. So yeah, and I know we're getting the red flashy.
It's all about the personas, finding out what is going to be needed. It's usually not a one-size-fits-all solution, right? So we are, oh, yep, that's right. Do not forget this slide, probably one of the more important ones. Please, we always would appreciate filling out the survey. Let me know how I did or how amused you were or whatever you want to put in there, but that'd be great. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks for the great questions. And hopefully we will see you at vNext and Ignite next year. So, June. Yeah.